Are we doing the count?
Oh,
wait, that's for the camera.
Yeah, that's for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to the ring, pre-recorded from Baltimore.
It's playing.
I can hear it. It's so loud.
Yeah, this hurts. But it's cool.
You don't have to play it though.
Are we on now?
Yeah,
Kind of.
This is like the
Intro's playing.
pre-intro. You'll get the gist of it in about 10 seconds.
I like that.
It's like so it eases us into the
4,
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Young and the Wrestless podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Brian.
I'm Nick.
And today we have a very, very special guest, my dear, dear cousin, Rick Orzo, or would you prefer Richard Orzechowski?
Rick Orzo's just swell.
Rick Orzo, there we go. Okay, so today we're going to talk about shoot fighting, guys.
Yeah, when wrestling turns real.
When I wanted to memorize the Real World intro, but I forgot about it.
Never seen it.
Yeah, but
You mean to tell me that wrestling's not real fighting?
I'm sorry to break
It's
it to you.
sports entertainment.
it's predetermined. It's not fake.
It's real to me, damn it.
You know what's crazy? I've been rewatching
Stop the
a bunch
podcast.
of like 90s WWF.
Mm-hmm.
They've been calling it sports entertainment since like 92.
Yeah, that's because
to get out of the steroids.
Because
the
the
steroids
yeah.
and the fight fees. Because if it's
the commissions.
Yeah, the commissions and all that. But for those that don't know, shoot fighting or shoots in wrestling is when a wrestler doesn't pull his punch and actually like strikes the dude with intent.
I mean, it could be a lot of things.
Well, Nick, you're the wrestler here, so if you want to explain it better
Nick's
than
the wrestler.
Oh, we have another wrestler here. So,
Yeah.
So Rick, before we go any further,
couple wrestlers.
Rick, do you want to explain your background?
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I wrestled. I wrestled in high school. I was
Real wrestling or fake
real
wrestling?
I just found out that this kind of real wrestling is fake. And that blows my mind. But no, I wrestled folk style wrestling for did high school run, and then I did club in college, and I coached little league for several years, and now I'm a high school coach and still doing it. 30 years old and still
awesome.
So do you believe in the fact that if you do something you love for your profession, you'll never work a day in your life, or do you?
No, man, everything hurts. I'm 30 years old, and it's like you get slammed by a 16-year-old, like, good work, kid, get out so I can roll over and cry. It's no, I love it, man. If I didn't, it's wrestling coaches where we get paid, but it's not a lot, and it's a lot of hours, and we do it because we love it, and that's I don't know. Like I said, we do it because we care about the sport, we care about teaching it, keeping it going, and I'd say that I look forward to it. If that answers your question.
Yeah.
Does it make you look down upon pro wrestling because?
No. These guys.
real?
First of all, like for starters, 90% of the guys in the WOE could kick the living shit out of me. You know what I mean? Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
All right. They could kick the living shit out of me. So let's start with that. They're in significantly better shape. But on top of that, these guys they're athletes. Whether it's I joke around and like, oh, I didn't know it was fake. Of course, like you said, it's entertainment, it's a show. But these guys are doing things that are incredibly acrobatic and have a lot of skill. It take a lot of training, and no, it's I don't look down at it. Do I see it as a difference? It's different. It's very obviously different.
There's just some people who are always like, it's fucking fake.
I mean, a lot of them.
Well, those
have
people
an
suck, and they're not
amateur-
fun. And they're wet blankets.
True.
And nobody likes a wet.
I mean, a lot of professional wrestlers have,
Stick in the mud,
some
man.
sort of amateur background anyway.
Yeah, such as Daniel Pewter.
Okay.
To start off with them. So, Swindle, thank you very much for compiling a list here.
It was a little list.
I don't think I know this one.
So Kurt Angle and Daniel Pewter.
Oh, this is. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is during Tough Enough.
when he tried to break his arm, right?
Yeah, he put him in
Yeah.
a Kimura. What I don't know what that is. I know that Daniel Puder tried to break Kurt Angle's arm
On live TV.
on live
I
TV,
remember
and
this.
then the
This is
referee,
real?
Yeah, we
Oh.
can look it up if you want. I
believe you.
The referee called a pin, but Daniel Puder's shoulders weren't to the ground, but the ref saw that he was shooting on him, so
Yeah,
he
because
called a fucking pin.
yeah, because Kurt Angle was standing up and Daniel Puder was on the ground.
Yeah.
and did it, and then if I remember correctly, it was because Daniel Puder, like Kurt Angle was like talking shit, and like none of you can like take me, and Daniel Puder was like, I'll take you right now, like,
and he could.
and he did pretty much. That was tight. Nick, do you have any shoot?
I mean, just
ideas?
go down the list. So I'll kind of break the fourth wall a little bit.
Okay.
So when we talk about we as in like, I guess,
Pro wrestling.
how do I say this kayfabe? Like without talking in wrestling terms.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guys in the back. I guess. Well, that's whatever.
What is
Okay,
kayfabe?
yeah.
Anyway, so when we talk about shooting on someone, it's anything that is going off of what the promoter is telling us is going to happen that night.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something that we say on the microphone, like if we dig into real life issues, if we're just like, fuck this guy, I'm going to shoot on him a little bit.
Like the Sunny Days thing.
I have no
Bret Hart saying, or
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels saying that Bret Hart was looking for the Sunny Days.
Or
Yeah.
like when Bret Hart, anytime Bret Hart referenced Shawn Michaels, he was shooting on him because they real life hate each other.
So when you guys say they're shooting on them, you mean like they're actually like, hey, I'm gonna hurt you now?
So a shoot, when we say shoot, is anything that is off of.
Anything that is not scripted.
I'll say scripted, right?
Okay.
So anything that we haven't talked about, what's not on the list in the back that says, this guy's going over, this is how this match is ending, this is what we're going to do. Anything that goes off the rails like that. So like, and it happens more times than not. Like it happens a lot.
Yeah. Well,
In
it's
some sort.
It's hearing you guys talk in the beginning was just a little confusing because shooting is like a wrestling, like it's something you do in wrestling.
Well, yeah.
So you're like when he's shooting on him, I'm like, all right, so then what?
but that's what
like what's he follow up with?
But that's-
You're like, yeah, he was shooting on him for a while.
What's
Anyway, I'm
shooting
like,
on
no,
him?
like that's like the first, like,
It's when you like kind of like you shoot in to take him down.
yeah, it's like it's the beginning of a takedown.
Okay.
So
Is that like when you dive for the knees or like
Yeah,
whatever?
you can
like,
go for the knees.
it's anything. But that's where the term comes from.
Got it.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Bing bang.
History.
So yeah,
Science.
let's go down this list real quick. So
Yeah,
so,
I wrote a little weird notes.
Yeah. Goldberg versus Steven Regal. Wanted Goldberg to work harder for the win. Regal maintains it's a miscommunication. Explain this.
All right, so back in the WCW days, Goldberg was, they were trying to put him over hard so he would win every match in like fucking 10, 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. But he got in the ring with Steven Regal one time, and Steven Regal actually wrestled him. And kind of like I guess real like physical wrestling. I don't fucking know how to put it, but he didn't know like Goldberg
probably-
didn't know what the fuck to do because he knew 3 moves at that time, like
Jackknife,
spear.
powerbomb, and spear.
Yeah.
What we'll notice probably on a lot of these that we bring up is that it's a veteran not liking a rookie coming in and trying to dictate what's going to happen in the match. And that's where a lot of times where these things will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about that
I think
match.
that's every single one now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Sorry, I got sweaty fingies because we're on camera for the first time. So my
I keep forgetting it's there, and I just looked over and waved at it.
that's fine, man.
Yeah,
we
I
got.
hope it's still running.
Is it like on like live now, or is it?
Not live now.
Oh, that's cool.
we
So,
can edit it.
I was gonna say, like, if like I slip up and hit my little head here, I can.
Bust your
If
shit
you
open.
shoot,
Bust my
if
shit
you
open.
shoot on yourself,
If I shoot on myself, and God, that
Think it'll be all
we
right.
could do New Jack versus Gypsy Joe, NWA in his 70s.
Do you know that
We
one?
can do any New Jack.
Any New
Let's go. Do you know New Jack?
No.
Right. Okay, so New Jack is a wrestler that
great.
was in. Sorry, I got really excited. I got really loud.
I can tell.
So New Jack is a wrestler in ECW who is known for just doing whatever the hell he wants to you.
stabbing people in the forehead with forks.
Throwing dudes off of like there was like a match where there was a bunch of tables in the ring and New Jack shoved the dude intentionally so he missed all the tables and landed on the cement because he said, quote, I was trying to kill that motherfucker, end quote. He's just he's like Ken Shamrock is known as the world's most dangerous man. I would say New Jack is wrestling's most dangerous man.
So, New Jack. I guess a little bit prior history, Jim Cornette brought him into Smoky Mountain. So that
Love
was
New
where
Jack,
he
yeah.
got his start, was in Smoky Mountain. And Cornette brought him into Smoky Mountain because he knew that he was going to stir up racial conflict.
Yeah, because if I may, real quick, because Smoky Mountain was in Tennessee, predominantly white redneck crowd, and then you have New Jack coming in saying, "I'ma kill all you honkies," like saying like racial charged stuff, but also saying it because like he was having racial slurs thrown at him in real life, and then that was all, and then he was taking that and just shooting it right back at him, and having these, and like just beating the ever living shit out of a white dude in the ring.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
his matches were he wrestled, he worked a little bit, but a lot of it was you knew that you were going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
Because he wasn't going to allow you to do certain things.
so
How
for
do you keep getting booked?
ECW,
Yeah, Cornette and ECW.
I mean, especially after the mass transit, you will love this story.
I love stories.
Okay, so mass
Go for
transit.
mass
Anybody want to
transit.
take it? I mean,
No,
I
it's
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
start it.
yeah, if you want to start, and then we'll
I know the story.
tag team it. Yeah.
Yeah, so ECW back in the day, even up until, I mean, its heyday, was basically just an indie promotion. And a lot of indie promotions, people don't know, if you're not booked on the show, a lot of workers will still show up backstage, and you always bring your gear. That's kind of a thing in wrestling. You always bring your gear because you never know, someone's not going to show up and they need a spot for you.
Like Spider-Man.
So this guy showed up. He walked in. He shook everyone's hand. He was like, "Whatever. I go by mass transit. I'm this bus driver."
He also had two small people wrestlers with him.
He brought
So
two
so
midgets.
Mass Transit was known for being a huge dude. He was like 350 pounds, and he wrestled little people.
But he
Okay.
had two midget wrestlers that were actually professional wrestlers.
Sure.
So he gave off, like, everyone believed him. He was like, okay. And in Pennsylvania, you don't need a license. So, and there's no real proof
License to what?
to wrestle.
Okay. Sorry.
So in a lot of places,
In Maryland, you need a license?
there's a commission, right? There's some sort of athletic commission, and you have to pass a test. You have to have a license. You have, because it's still a sport, quote unquote.
And
I
then
think
on
that's awesome.
On
I
a
think that's
previous
great.
on a previous episode, you even talked about how they do like physicals and drug tests and everything,
they
like
do it-
when you walk into the building.
you do it
yeah.
physical, but some states don't. And Pennsylvania is one of those states that doesn't.
They also don't know how to drive there.
So this kid, he ends up being a kid, is actually 16 years old, and he is scheduled to be a jobber, which is he's going to get his ass kicked by New Jack.
And it was him. It was Mass Transit and Devon Dudley versus New Jack and his tag team partner that he always had with him. And New Jack said, and then the Mass Transit, the kids told New Jack, I want you to cut me. And then he also
Because he's
said,
never done it before.
he never did it. And then he also said, well, I would also like to do this. He was changing the outcome of the match. New Jack said, fuck that. And then as they're walking out, he grabbed Devon Dudley and said, I'm going to throw you out of the ring and you're going to stay out of the ring. And so they got into the ring. Ding, ding. New Jack throws Devon Dudley out of the ring and proceeds to beat the ever-living shit out of this guy. And then when he cut him, he pulls out a scalpel and he intentionally cuts him too deep across his forehead, and he's bleeding out, hits an artery.
Yeah, he almost died.
The kid's parents
This
are
is
in
Mass Transit that almost died?
yeah.
Goodness.
The Mass Transit's parents are in the front ring screaming, "He's only 16. He's only 16." And
Wait,
then,
this Mass Transit guy was only 16?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then
He lied.
and then Mass Transit, and then after he got hit, New Jack, I believe, pulls out a chair or a garbage can and just starts wailing on Mass Transit. This kid just beating literally an inch from his life.
That's
and
not
then
cool.
and then 3 minutes in, calls it, pulls up, grabs a mic and says, I wanted to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And like everybody was like going crazy because that
Yeah,
was the ECW
sure.
crowd. And then the guy went to the hospital, tried to sue New Jack. And
On
then,
his way out of the ring, he was on the gurney, still flipping the birds.
oh yeah,
though,
flipping everybody off.
Because
yeah.
that kid's still in character.
Yeah, never broke character.
I mean, New Jack actually, they went to court, and because the kid asked him to cut him,
That's
New
why.
Jack got to quit it.
And then Mass Transit died years later from complications from gastric bypass surgery.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
But like I said earlier, like Why did he get his ass kicked? Because he went up to a veteran and tried to talk about.
It's all good, man.
I'm so cool.
You should grab it, man.
Got a little water on the ground.
It's fine.
You know?
So that's
Nah, you didn't get
that's
on
a-
camera.
That's a big,
What are you talking about?
That's a big no-no.
I'm gonna put it here next to your
Is it,
computer.
if you're gonna wrestle a veteran and you're green as shit, you let him do it. So
You essentially let him take the lead in the dance.
yeah, so I was gonna bring up one. It was when Luger first started, and he was getting pushed really, really hard in Florida, and he was going up against Bruiser Brody, and he.
Oh, man, I love
Luger went up to Bruiser Brody and wanted to talk about every step of the match and how he wanted to get his shit in. And that's a big thing. Is like, you don't ever tell someone you want to get your shit in.
Getting your shit in mean like getting the moves you want to do in.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you. So I'm going to keep saying all
That's
of these
fine.
wrestling lingos, and then you got to come in and fix it.
That's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, no, Bruiser Brody didn't sell a single thing. It was a cage match. He didn't sell a single thing. He beat the fuck out of Lex Luger. Anytime Lex Luger tried to do anything, Bruiser no-sold it. And yeah, Lex picked up his shit and like quit.
Yeah, he climbed
quit
out of the
Florida.
cage
Yeah.
and just like
He just
walked
walked out.
away.
He grabbed his shit and left.
Kind of like when Austin Aries lost the belt and just like walked off in TNA, but like
I mean,
more
that,
green.
that was a
Yeah,
work.
that was yeah okay. But yeah, so that's nuts. I did not know that story. Should we tell another New Jack story?
Tell all the New
Okay,
Jack stories.
so recently,
I just looked up New Jack and Mass Transit.
oh,
Who
there's
put
like
them in a ring together? That's not nice.
It is dark.
Paul Heyman. Another New Jack story. This happened.
Well, we didn't talk about the end.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. So if you want to talk, I don't know this story. So
Oh, it's a good one.
does anybody know this story?
Oh, about
I actually- no, I'm
Gypsy
kidding.
Joe?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so
It was on Dark Side of the Ring.
Was it?
Yeah.
So basically, I'm gonna give like a rough
I
version
remember
because I don't
now,
know.
yeah.
Gypsy Joe's a veteran indie wrestler, and he was working in his 70s. Like he was wrestling New Jack, and Gypsy Joe's in his 70s. Midway through the match, Gypsy Joe decides to stop selling for New Jack.
Selling, by the way,
But that's
means-
part of his character was that because he was kind of like a why can't like a
Hard man.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka kind of thing where they no sold headshots and stuff.
By the way, selling is like when
I
you.
feel like
when
anyone
you,
who's
I'm
listening
just
to this
for
knows
Rick.
Yeah.
selling.
Do you understand selling?
I don't.
Okay, so selling is selling something.
As soon as
like,
Nick was just like, well, anybody who's fucking anybody knows what selling is. This idiot definitely does. And then the Andrew's like, here's a question that puts you exactly on the spot. Do you know this thing that Nick just said only idiots, dumb idiots don't know? And I was like, yeah, no, I don't know what selling is.
So selling is when if Nick was to punch me and I moved my head.
Oh, that's
So
incredibly fair, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like
That makes
And
sense,
then no
yeah.
selling is if Nick did that and I just stood there like a stone.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he was no selling for New Jack, and eventually New Jack had enough of it and fucking like he took a aluminum baseball bat covered in barbed wire to Gypsy Joe's head, and then the whole
wasn't he,
crowd
like-
turns on New Jack and is yelling the N-word. It's a whole thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I do remember that vaguely when you were like, it's on Dark Side of the Ring. I was like, oh, yeah. Like when the people started throwing the chairs at New Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's almost murdered people like multiple times on fucking camera.
Is
If
Dark
I-
Side of the Ring a documentary?
It's a
Yeah,
Vice.
it's on
It's a
Vice.
Vice
Oh,
TV
cool.
series.
It's really good.
If you want to hang out afterwards, there's a couple of
I
episodes.
think I might, yeah.
Yeah, they're
awesome.
each an hour long. They're great. The third season's coming out. This is not sponsored by Vice. Please sponsor us though. We would love to do that. We would love to take Comrade Thompson's job for the extended episodes.
Not a fan.
Your buddy Comrade Thompson here.
Hi, this is Andrew Thompson.
Hey, this is Andrew Thompson. As I look into the camera. No, but so about 5 years ago, New Jack was wrestling a green guy, a new wrestler. I forget the guy's name, but we brought this up twice on this podcast already, and New Jack didn't like what the guy was doing, so he pulls a surgical scalpel out of his pants and proceeds to stab this guy in the torso and in the side and in the chest, trying to murder him. And
Now, you
then-
see, Nick, that's called shooting.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
that's
Okay.
shooting, yeah. So then,
You're getting there.
and then New Jack got arrested, was brought to jail, and then the guy was like 40-something years old, and he said, "Hey, I won't press charges if you teach me how to wrestle. I don't want New Jack to teach me how to wrestle. Like,
What were you gonna say?
what were you gonna say, Nick?
Nothing. I remembered this story. That's
Yeah.
what I was-
So that was another New Jack story, and then the other New Jack story that I know vaguely or very vaguely is that like early on, like none of his matches were sports entertainment. They were all like him wailing on people, like just intentionally in Smoky Mountain.
How the fuck did he get into wrestling?
Jim Cornette. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. Let's move on. Let's do Great Antonio versus Antonio Inoki. Yes, my boy Inoki.
Yes, that was a good one.
Swindle.
Oh, I'm going again.
Yeah,
Here I go.
you're the one that wrote this list.
This was in Japan.
Yeah,
I
Inoki.
wanna-
Yeah, or MJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, and Inoki and the Great Antonio. Oh, you want to go?
Swin, do you know? Not Swin. Rick. Do you know who Antonio Inoki is?
Nope.
He's the guy that wrestled Muhammad Ali when they did a huge like wrestler versus boxing thing, because in Japan,
It was fucking
Antonio
crazy.
Inoki started New Japan Pro Wrestling, and what they're known for is doing strong style, where they will do like weighted like neck like lifts with weights so that they can slam each other on the neck and not get hurt because
Okay.
there's so much muscle. And it's nuts. It's crazy. Antonio Inoki, he's the man. He also was the president, or he was some form of government for Japan. Is crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He was like the prime minister or something like that.
I know that one's a similar situation. It was like the Great Antonio didn't want to sell for Inoki anymore, and Inoki's a real motherfucker.
Yeah,
Like we wouldn't want to fuck with him.
so Inoki's kind of like Stu Hart of Japan,
Sure,
where
that's a good one.
Yeah, he can make it look like he's hurting you, or he can actually hurt you.
Yeah.
Like you can have one or the other. Another great Antonio Inoki story is the Muhammad Ali match. Are any of you familiar with this at all?
Slightly.
Yeah,
Okay,
slightly.
so I believe it was Muhammad Ali's manager that wanted him to box in Japan, and then Antonio Inoki was like, "Hey, what if we do like a wrestler versus boxer?" And because at the time people legitimately thought wrestling was a real thing, Antonio Inoki could actually hurt people and stuff like that.
Like 20 minutes ago. Back then, I thought that.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Sorry about your luck.
so,
you came on the wrong podcast.
Well,
so Muhammad Ali and Antonio Inoki are going at it in the ring, and then, or no, it was beforehand. Muhammad Ali's management said, we don't want him to get hurt, like because he has a fight in America pretty soon coming up.
It was a dumb fucking idea then.
So they were like, no strikes, but you can kick him. Like
That makes sense.
So Antonio Inoki, I'm doing it with like he's doing like shin kicks to him, like to his knees and stuff to like take him down. And then they're like, no, you can't do that anymore. So Antonio Inoki was like, okay. So he laid on the mat and was kicking Muhammad Ali still, and then Muhammad went to like punch him, and Antonio Inoki was just like, bam, just bopped him in the nose, knocked him out.
knocked out.
Muhammad Ali. A Japanese sports entertainer knocked out Muhammad Ali.
Pretty
This is real?
crazy. This is real.
Yeah,
All right.
that was real. Let's move on to we have Perry Saturn versus Mike Bell.
Yeah, I wrote down that one.
I don't remember this one, but
I know who
happened
Mike
on
Bell
a
is.
The show was called like WWF Metal.
Yeah, so that was the one. It was similar to Shotgun Saturday Night. It was like the one that came on at like midnight on like Saturdays,
Like
on,
MTV or something.
No, it was like WBFF. It was like it was like Superstars or like Main Event. It was like syndicate. It was their syndicated show.
But it was the reason that Perry Saturn got the moppy gimmick was because he basically started fucking this kid up during the match, and then he ended up throwing the kid out of the ring and told him to stay out of the ring because And later, Perry Saturn said, "Oh, I was actually going to kill him if I didn't throw him out of the ring and tell him to stay out of the ring."
Yeah.
This is a whole fucking thing. I feel like all of these shoots are going the same way
Yeah,
now.
pretty
It's
much.
like just one dude getting fucking pissed off.
Well, if I can give some background on Mike Bell.
if you know anything about Mike Bell,
I
don't know who the
I
fuck he
do.
is.
So his brother, I forget his brother's name, but his brother directed a documentary called Bigger, Stronger, Faster about steroid use in or gas
Bigger, faster,
in
stronger.
wrestling action movies, like how and him and his brothers wanted to be wrestlers, but they were like stocky guys that couldn't really develop like abs and muscles and stuff. They just got wider, not bigger, and Mike Bell was the only one that actually made it onto WWF, and that was like one of 3 matches he had, and that was supposed to be his comeback match.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and Perry Saturn ruined it for him.
Well, he was on drugs and shit.
We already did Kurt Angle versus Daniel Puder. JBL and Blue Meanie.
This is a good one.
So Rick,
Okay.
This is a real good one because JBL is a piece of shit.
do you know who JBL is? John Bradshaw Layfield.
No, I do know that there's a construction company with the same name.
Let me pull up Bradshaw real
applies.
quick as you guys.
Aren't you glad you invited me?
So I don't know if anyone who's listening to this, JBL is known for
being a dickhead.
being very stiff in the ring.
And stiff means
It's a fine lad.
it's stiff, I guess, would be like a little less like soft than like
Sure. So okay. So I'm gonna get in trouble. Wrestling's a work, right? So everything that we're doing is we're trying to not hurt you while making it look good, right? But
to make it look like
But
it
like me,
hurts.
so some guys like me personally, I liked feeling it. I wanted you to actually hit me. I wanted to kind of hurt because it helped me sell, and it made me feel like I need to do more to actually stop this guy from fucking hurting me. JBL was a guy who would
I bet
actually
you Nick's a cuddle.
would actually. Yeah, I love
Dude,
cuddling.
my head was going the same direction.
I am a-
Very tender lover.
but JBL, people like Sid Vicious, a lot of the bigger guys would literally just beat the fuck out of you.
Sure.
And while in
Character.
a worked, faked environment.
Sure.
of
So
some sort.
would you say that stiff wrestling is essentially shoot fighting but predetermined?
No,
Okay.
because
never mind.
I think you just have to understand, where a lot of these fights happen is a wrestler's working too stiff, or and things like that, and other people just taking offense to it and not understanding who they're actually wrestling,
Got it.
which is going to lead to a bunch of stories I have coming up later.
Okay, so Bradshaw and Blue Meanie, ECW One Night Stand.
Correct. It started because Blue Meanie was doing an interview for WWE.com and called JBL an asshole.
Yeah,
he
and
is.
the Blue Meanie is looks like me, like kind of bigger guy, blue hair. He was part of the Blue
You do
World
have
Order.
blue
He
hair.
does have blue
Yeah,
hair, right?
no.
You
And,
can tell on the video.
No, and he had longer blue hair. He would paint the glasses on. He's based on the Blue Meanie from Yellow Submarine.
Okay, cool.
And they were doing a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royale.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I'm an idiot.
I also caught on to something on the 2 episodes ago. I was like, oh, I just figured that out. Yeah, but it's like
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
In the
Beatles movie.
the Beatles movie Yellow Submarine,
Never
the
seen it.
cartoon.
Oh man,
Not a fan of the Beatles,
Not a
but
fan of the Beatles.
I am.
but there's a character called the Blue Meanies, and they had the glasses and stuff, so
It's a
that's why they
cartoon
paint the
character.
glasses. Anyways, so Blue Meanie, they're in a battle royale or something like
It's
that.
like ECW guys versus
So,
ECW guys versus WWE guys.
and then this is
in the
also
ring.
when ECW came back
right.
under the WWF banner or
Yes.
WWE banner. That's why it was One Night Stand, and then whatever. So continuing, so the ECW and WWE guys.
Yeah, there's like a group of 10 on each side, and then they collide. And during the entire brawl, JBL is chasing after Blue Meanie. like trying to fucking hit him. And then eventually
He gets a hold of him.
he gets a hold of him, hits him where an old wound was, and reopens it.
Yeah.
Gives him a crimson mask. He's just fucking
Yeah,
bloody, and
Which is when blood is going across your face.
I put that.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm mansplaining.
If he was like
everything.
Indigo Mask, I'd have been like, wait a minute.
Wait, what's
Crimson-
a velvet mask? Yes.
But yeah, so he's
I know what the
splits him
Velveteen
open.
Dream is.
There you go.
That's a wrestling term for you, Nick.
What?
All right.
Velveteen Dream. So he JBL just beat the shit out of him, and then when they're doing like the big hey, we all love each other, like thanks for coming, Blue Meanie is just covered in blood, staring at the back of JBL's head like lasers going through.
Are we going to
it.
get into Stevie Richards giving JBL a receipt?
This is the
Whoop,
coolest
whoop, whoop,
chair shot.
Hey,
in
hey,
wrestling
go
history.
on, yeah.
A receipt. So do you want to explain to the viewers what a receipt is?
Is a receipt like a payback?
Yeah.
We did it, guys. And that's been Young in the Wrestling.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yeah, so a receipt. Sorry.
Yeah,
You have to
so-
explain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Was it like a Raw or something?
So yeah, Blue Meanie got
it was the
double
APA,
pay for
right?
he got double paid for the night of One Night Stand because he got hit by JBL. They
And
were
if-
trying to make up for it.
And if I may, Stevie Richards and the Blue Meanie and I forget who else were in a stable in ECW called the BWO, the Blue World Order.
Yeah.
So that's why Stevie Richards would be the one. Stevie Richards also a trainer for DDP Yoga.
He's in shape.
If you use the app, he's one of the trainers you can choose. He does the beginner class.
Nice. I just used the videos you sent me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've had those for like 20 years.
But yeah, so they worked it into a storyline, and later on, they had a match on, I think, SmackDown, and it was JBL. I think it was a handicap match. JBL versus Stevie
It
Richards.
was. It was a
and
handicap
Blue
match. JBL
Meanie.
versus
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Stevie Richards cracked JBL across the head
It's
with a
one of
chair.
the-
It fucking. You can
he
hear
made him bleed the hard way. Like legit, fucked him up.
He like stumbles backwards
Yeah.
and is like, "What the
The
fuck?"
It was.
Speaking
We
of
gotta watch some of these.
Speaking of bleeding, we can't
can
though.
watch. Also,
Are they
there's-
on Peacock yet?
There's a good APA shoot when Public Enemy comes in.
Yes,
too.
yes. I forgot about that.
Public Enemy comes over from
Andrew's
ECW.
not at all excited.
Yes.
I was gonna say I'm gonna shoot. Oh, and that works. Thank you, McGruber.
This is I don't want to say it's one of my favorites, but it's one of the ones when
It's
you
97.
when you watched it, you're like, you could tell
something's
that
wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah. So, Public Enemy came over from ECW into WWF at the time, and they were to wrestle APA.
When you
which
say
was,
Public Enemy,
not that one. There was
I got-
two fat dudes that called themselves Public Enemy.
Okay.
And they would always carry.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a hair less excited. All
It's fine.
right.
So,
Okay.
so they were known for carrying like ladders out to the ring and stuff like that. So APA was Bradshaw and one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Farouk. Awesome dude. Ron Simmons, he's known for going bam. That guy. So
That's. Oh, I didn't know that was, but now
yeah, a lot of people don't.
I know who Rod Stewart is.
No relation.
Okay.
So
Love Rod Stewart.
So I wanted to go into it, but so Public Enemy apparently showed up late, were just not respectful towards anybody, and they were high as hell off of marijuana.
Oh, no.
So they go out to the ring, and then APA goes out there and proceeds to
jumps the bell and just literally just legit punches and kicks like
before the
Yeah.
bell rang, they gave these dude a Philly beatdown. Like I'm surprised they were standing afterwards.
I think they may have done two actual wrestling moves.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was just
They did the Doomsday Device thing that they used to do.
Yeah, I think
their
the
finisher.
finish was.
And then, but other than that, like JBL stomping on the one dude's head, Farouk is just boxing this other dude.
constant chair shots, throwing through anything they could to the point where like
2 tables, I
like,
believe.
even the announcer is we're trying to signal to someone in the back that, hey, this thing is going off the rails. Someone tell the referee to stop this thing.
Yeah, and
The referee eventually just stopped it.
and then not APA, but then Public Enemy had like one more wrestling
And then
match.
they got fired.
And then they got fired for getting into a fight with
You
APA.
don't say, yeah.
They were always late.
Yeah, and getting into a fight with APA apparently. Speaking of bleeding the hard way, though,
Yes.
I do want to segue into more recent shoots that we all might remember. You might have been there for a couple of these when anything involving Brock Lesnar giving somebody an elbow to the head. So when Brock Lesnar busted open John Cena on Raw and was just elbowing him, and then they had to get pulled away, and then John Cena jumped across. It might have been a worked shoot.
Most of the time, it probably is because a lot of guys don't. For one, Vince McMahon doesn't like
Bleeding.
when you blade yourself. Mm-hmm. So, like, a lot of times, if people actually blade themselves, they don't tell Vince it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
It's like accept the
Is
consequences
this something
later.
that they still blame themselves?
they do.
They do?
Yeah, they're very sneaky about it.
But a lot of
Gotcha.
people want to do it the hard way. That way, it looks like an accident, so then Vince doesn't get mad.
because they're
and
rated
fines them.
TVPG, and if they have all that, it bumps up, and then
Yeah.
the sponsors get angry and start leaving.
So
but
then, if you can prove it that like he punched me and it bled, and not like you're not looking at the camera and you're like you're clearly cutting your fucking eyebrow,
or like the ref,
Yeah.
the ref literally
Yeah.
like goes like this to your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not doing the "Are you okay?" finger grab. They're literally like doing a drug deal type thing,
Yeah.
like a hey yeah type. And the other one too was Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton when he busted him wide open. That was spooky. I didn't like any of those.
No, his blood was like pouring
was
out.
pouring.
Of his
Yeah,
head.
it was
like a-
all over the mat. It was crazy, dumb. Yeah, so that's about all I have for shoot fighting that I remember.
Yeah, we
offhand.
ripped through some. Yeah. So, what I want to get to is, Rick, has anyone ever? Have you ever seen like kids fight for real really during a match?
So wrestling, so folk style amateur wrestling is real, but it's not. But there's no strikes or anything allowed.
No, but I'm sure like it gets intense, right? Like, yeah.
For certain. No, there's no strikes. I mean, there are definitely. I mean, there's. I don't want to say a dark side, but there's definitely there's definitely things that I know
A shady
I
side?
used to do when I wrestled that that teetered. And
Like what, for example?
no, I mean,
Nick's
like,
giving
it's-
away the business.
No,
I'm
Nick's
not gonna be
fired.
allowed back in
no,
the ring in my entire life.
No, I mean it's really nothing that you wouldn't. Like when you do like a crossface or something, this is a punch, but this doesn't really look that much like a punch. You know what I mean? So you go across the face and you kind of clip them a little bit and get a little TLC in there and.
Tables, ladders, chairs, or
Yeah,
tender loving
no,
chairs?
specifically tables, ladders, chairs.
Okay.
Things like that, and a lot of it, you see a lot of it get escalated, and you kind of keep in mind. So, like, it also depends on where you are. As like, it sounds dumb, but like your growth as a person. I coach everywhere from 4 to 18, 19 years
Oh,
old.
shit. I didn't
So
know that.
when I've got 4-year-olds. 4-year-olds just want a hug. You know what I mean? They hug till you fall over, and then that's the match. Everybody says "oh," and we're like, "Cool."
Oh, 2 points each.
Thanks for
Like,
registering.
And they're like
And now
17,
that's
8-year-olds.
now all my 4-year-old wrestlers are like, "Wait, they're just using up." No, we're not using you. Please bring your kids to my organization. Anyway, but no, but it does have like little guys. It's more of a training thing, and their emotions aren't there. And then you start when they start to get a little older and they build friendships and relationships with people, and they start feeling things like hey, maybe I'm gonna be a little embarrassed if I lose this in front of my mom, dad, this and the other. And then those emotions will start, and then kids don't know how to handle those, and so kids will get into fights and arguments, and then you get into high school. By the time you're in high school, we're talking about teenagers, and teenagers are the
hormones.
They're the hormones and the
I used to get in so many fights in high school.
well, that's the thing. Like these kids, just a lot of times it's you said this, and their immediate reaction is like, "I want to hit him," and it's just like,
In amateur wrestling, there's multiple styles, right? Because is there
Yeah.
like freestyle? You can kind of slam people around, right?
not.
I mean, a little
The
bit.
biggest thing is freestyle and Greco-Roman are the two other
Yeah.
bigger ones, other than folk style. Folk style is kind of like categorized to high schools,
Is that more
little
like
league,
grappling?
and it's a lot more grappling. I mean, they're both. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
freestyle and folk style are the
yeah.
same amount of grappling. The only one where you're not doing a ton of that is Greco. Greco's a lot more about throws and upper body.
Oh, okay.
And, you're not vining legs or anything like that. And then freestyle, you count points with like rolls and with different tosses.
Can you like do submissions and stuff too?
And like submission, like tap?
Yeah.
No, man.
Is that all pins?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's pins and points. So.
Gotcha.
And then they have like an adult. Actually, it's funny that I said we're talking about it because I was explaining to a buddy of mine about what a tech fall is. He's like, "What's a tech?" And I'm like, "It's adult slaughter rule." And goes on, like, "What's that mean?" It's like somebody's just beating the shit out of you. They call it. Like, he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "So what is it?" I'm like, "I don't know, like 10 points, and you're up by 10 points. Get out of there. You ain't winning." Like that's just how that works. But to be honest, I have seen guys that are up by like 8 points and get flipped over and win the damn thing. So I mean, it's wrestling's got there's a lot of surprises and little things you don't expect, and it takes one wrong move to to make a national champion
There you
not
go.
a national champion anymore. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just a lot of meticulous movement, a lot of paying attention to what you're doing.
So I was telling Andrew the other day is that I always
We were at the bar.
we're at the bar.
Sometimes you go to bars.
So I was telling him that I preferred wrestling someone with an amateur background because I didn't have an amateur background, and so like my technical abilities weren't really there, but I understood the business
Sure, yeah.
in the wrestling business. So like if I would ever get lost in a match, but I was wrestling someone who had an amateur background, I'd be like, "Yo, just like fucking flip me over," and like they could wherever we were,
They could sell it.
They could sell it, and they knew a way to like.
There you go, Ricky.
Big brain shit
Yeah.
like that.
Like they knew a way to like take some sort of takedown or some sort of like maneuver that they felt like that we could reposition ourselves.
Oh.
It was really easy and it was a lot more fun.
I mean, but wrestling's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
cool.
biggest selling point out of all of it. Like, why
that's
should
one
you
of the
wrestle?
worst-
Because it's fun.
I'm killing the business here. But that's one of the worst things is like when you have two people who are like so much trained like westernized style professional wrestling and you're like, fuck, where do we go from here? Because it's all chain wrestling, right? Most of grappling is chain wrestling. You take the arm and you work around it and you try to position yourself to a way that you are working into actually doing moves. But like when you got the guy with like an amateur background, you can do a lot more like flipping and
like when for example like Chad Gable when he like drops somebody on their face and then does like the
Well, yeah,
rotating thing.
But I
on
mean,
top
like
of
I
them,
could
yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
So, have you guys heard of Gable Stevenson?
No.
No.
There's a lot of rumors that he just won the NCAA.
Oh, the Brock Lesnar guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
new Brock. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's a lot of stuff about him coming.
Huge.
Yeah, 265. He can go backflip too.
Him-
Oh, he can?
Yeah,
He's-
it's
That's
sick.
pretty badass.
Yo, I'm finally less weight than somebody. Oh, 264.8. Yeah.
Dude, no, this guy is he's a monster. But there's a lot of like rumors about him going to WWE and doing that thing.
I want to say
But he
he's
actually
already signed.
he just made the Olympic heavyweight. He's going to be the men's freestyle Olympic.
I mean, a lot of them just
That's
have.
all.
It's more of a
For
natural
US.
because
America.
Amateur wrestling.
yeah, because like you already understand how to grapple and kind of how to. You because you actually do it for real. Like so, you know how to make it look. You don't know how to make it look real. You are doing it for real. So that's kind of a lot of people have a lot of trouble making it look legit, and amateur wrestlers, they just are natural at
They just do it.
hooking up and doing it.
Yeah.
So you think what would make a match better would be like one guy who can really, or one guy who really knows the business and one guy who's an amateur wrestler, or like, because I feel like
I mean, it
nowadays,
depends on everything. Because like if you look at a guy like.
because like Lex Luger versus Hulk Hogan, it's a shit match.
It's a match. But also like
But-
if you put Hulk Hogan up with Kurt Angle, that's not really gonna be a good match either because Hulk Hogan can't do anything.
a leg drop, an elbow. Like his finishing move is he jumps in the air and sits on you.
But like, can you
Wait,
imagine?
do we not like Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan is a very bad man.
But like,
Oh, I'm
let's
familiar.
say-
I'm familiar that
No,
Terry is a bad man.
Okay.
I didn't
Hulk
ask
Hogan.
about him. I asked about
Hank
Hogan.
Hogan. So if I may just really quick about Hulk Hogan, if I may interject,
Sure.
this is my thoughts on Hulk Hogan. I grew up worshiping that man, and
I
I
had
believe,
a belt with Hulk Hogan on it.
and I believe Hulk
That's pretty
Hogan
badass.
did a lot to bring wrestling into the mainstream in the 80s and early 90s. Like he was one of
It was
the
a different
driving
time.
but it was a different time. But at the same time, he just got too big for his britches, man. He didn't want to lose, and then that's when you're like, "Fuck you, dog." Like as a kid, I was like, "This is awesome," and then as an adult, and I'm reading back, I'm like, "This is terrible." Just like when I was younger, I hated Paul Heyman. I was like, Paul Heyman's the worst human on earth, and then I got older, I was like, Paul Heyman's actually
Hulk
pretty good
Hogan
guy.
just technically wasn't a very good wrestler. I mean, like, he was big but cool. But look at Andre the Giant. If you look at old Japanese footage of Andre,
Andre was
He was
awesome.
doing drop kicks. He was getting on the top rope. He was a good wrestler.
Yeah, we're Hulk Hogan, Hank Hogan.
It was so. Here's the thing. I'm very familiar with like the characterization of Hulk Hogan. He wasn't a great wrestler.
No,
I don't
not-
really know any much about his
Not
actual wrestling.
one bit.
Hulk Hogan
Really?
was known
Okay.
for just like getting beat up.
Was Macho Man Randy Savage a good wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah, Macho Man, like
Those are my two.
up here, Hulk Hogan.
I know
Hulk
from a
Hogan had
child.
such a huge ego that he didn't like putting anyone over, to the point like he didn't want to bump. So like if any
A bump is taking a hit.
fallen, you
Okay.
know, he didn't want to fall to the mat,
Which is like half the job.
which is half the his
Yeah,
job.
sure, right. Yeah.
But he didn't want to do that. So if he was wrestling anyone who was technical, who could take him down, it was never going to be a good match because Hogan could not keep up.
The best way to describe Hulk Hogan was it WrestleMania 9, the Black Eye?
Oh yeah.
So Yokozuna won the belt.
I don't know which WrestleMania, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Hulk Hogan just ran in and pinned that dude and then grabbed the belt and was
That-
like, "It's mine now."
But that ruined Hulkamania.
Yeah.
That killed Hulkamania.
Yeah, because they were just like, "Oh, he's a fucking dickhead."
Everyone hated it. Bret Hart was the new guy, and
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan came in and was trying to be, I'm fucking big dick guy, you know.
Yeah.
So was that planned for Hogan to run in? 'Cause if it's
was.
planned, you can't blame him.
Yeah. Well, he was like, "I'm gonna
But
do this."
It was his idea.
So
he
like,
had like creative control and all
so that would be like
aspects.
if to put it in like a better term that you would or a way that you would understand. It's like if you booked a show for Birthright and Have Mercy, and you were like, Have Mercy's going to open up and Birthright's going to close. And then we went up to you and we're like, we're the bigger band. We're going to close.
like that's not the plan.
That's not the plan. That's not the point.
I'm interested only if Oliver takes the lead.
That was an amazing callback.
There you go.
Nobody
here for
will
it.
ever
I-
get.
No, they wouldn't. And it's funny because I was in the shower earlier, and I'm like, somehow I'm gonna work. Oliver takes the
That
lead.
is so weird. I haven't heard
I
that in
remembered
so
my
long.
point I was trying to make.
Okay, what is it?
When you were saying about like what would be a better match, so I think, can you imagine if Brett didn't go to WCW?
In stayed.
Also, I don't know why I
Unstayed.
did this. Like,
And
I was
if-
washing my hair. I don't have hair. Like I did that when I was explaining the shower to you. This is just I guess what I do in the shower.
Because I think my dream match would be Brett versus Kurt Angle.
That would be like I had a dream the other night that Bret Hart
did
didn't
too.
leave WWF.
Because Brett technically could fucking wrestle a broomstick.
And make it
technically,
look good.
Make it look good.
That's my favorite
And then
match.
have a guy like Kurt Angle.
Dude, imagine Bret Hart versus Moppy, dude. Bret Hart versus Moppy.
You could do it.
Yeah, but like, and then you think about it, you're like, man, if Vince just like stuck to his word, wasn't a dickhead, then Goldberg wouldn't have kicked Bret Hart in the head and ended his career. Like, but yeah, Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart and Kurt, like you said, I'm gonna piggyback on that point. Yes, 1,000 times yes.
That's a shoot we never even brought up. That's probably the biggest one in wrestling history.
Oh, the fucking Montreal Screwjob.
Oh, yeah.
Let go.
is Moppy an actual mop?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I guess everybody knows about. Do you know about the Montreal Screwjob? I don't want to say everybody with you here. Okay, we'll watch the Dark Side of the Ring afterwards. So
I really hope we do.
It's pretty fucking good.
anybody wants it? We all know it.
I don't know it.
Yeah, I'll
You,
take
Nick,
it.
you
I
do
want
it,
Nick
you
to
do
do it. Nick is like the lore keeper.
Okay,
Yeah, there you
so,
go, yeah.
He's also like the shy one in the group.
Yeah.
Like
I love this topic.
Like you kind of like want to just get to know him a little
Well,
better.
with
Yeah.
Nick,
And,
if
you
you,
know,
He's
like-
got a lot going
Like he,
on. up there.
like you just like you know what I mean.
we
Like
can talk later.
I mean, I'm not opposed.
Yeah. So
I'm into it.
So Montreal Screwjob.
Montreal Screwjob. Here we go.
Yeah.
Brett's contract is up, and WWF Vince couldn't keep both Sean and Brett.
Look at him when he's talking because I already know this.
You could look me
Make
right
eye
here.
contact. Yeah,
In the
just-
big
yeah, you-
hazels.
No, you don't have to. I'm just
WWF
saying.
was struggling, and they didn't have the money to keep both Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. So Bret Hart walked because WCW's offer was more, and Vince was like, I can't do it. So anyway,
if I may interject
3.8
real
million
quick.
a
So-
year.
So WCW offered Bret Hart $20 million for like 50 shows a year, 5 years or something like that. And then, or no,
That's
it was,
a lot of
no,
money,
it was,
bro.
no, it was $10 million.
It was 3.8 a year.
Yeah,
you can
it was,
hold me to
it was something like that, and
It was
then
fucking
it was a lot of
absurd.
money. So then, per the WCW contract, he could take that to any other promotion, and they could match it, and then he could just be like, "All right, I'm signing with this company." So he took it to WWF, and Vince was like, "I can't do that, but what I can do is sign you to a 20-year contract for $500,000, or it was $2 million." Or it was $1 million a year for 3 years, and then he would be on as like a producer for like $750 a year, and then he would eventually go down to $300,000 for the rest of his life to just be like a legends wrestler.
I mean, there's some truth to that. A lot of it, because I've heard multiple stories from people that have been there, so I don't think anyone actually knows the whole truth.
Yeah.
But from a lot of things I've heard is that WWF was struggling hard, so Vince could not guarantee all the years that Brett wanted for the money that he wanted.
Yeah. So he signed the 20-year contract.
So,
and then,
so like Vince was like, I can sign you for a very long amount of time and hope that like if things get better, we can rework it. But it's hard to turn down almost $4 million a year. Anyway, Bret Hart was going to sign with WCW, and Vince was like, well, then you need to drop the belt. Bret Hart didn't want to drop
Bret
the
Hart was the champion at the time.
I assume.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Bret Hart didn't want to drop the belt in Canada, where he's from, and Vince was like, "No, I don't want another, Alundra Blaze."
So Alundra Blaze was the women's champion, and she wrestled on a Sunday, and then showed up live on WCW Nitro the next night with the WWF Women's Championship and dropped it into a trash can. And that was like the most embarrassing. That was like the most embarrassing thing you could have done.
So, like, I get why Vince did it, because Brett was never going to agree to drop the belt in Canada, and Vince didn't want that to happen, where Bret Hart just didn't show up and just showed up on Monday Night Nitro with the belt. So like it's like I get it. It's like it was two strong personalities arguing over what's right, what's wrong, and Vince, as the owner of this $1 million wrestling promotion, was like, I need a new champion. I can't let this guy walk away this building and not know if he's going to show up the next night in my company or another company. So in Montreal, the finish was Brett was supposed to reverse a move and win the match. And Shawn Michaels put the move on him, and before Brett could reverse it, Vince McMahon ended the match and called Shawn Michaels the winner.
And
So like nobody was pinned or anything.
No one was
it was a
pinned.
submission move. Now, the thing is that it was Bret Hart's finishing move.
Yeah, the sharp
that Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in, and then
icing
Bret
on the cake.
And Bret Hart
I bet
had
you those connects were pissed.
Bret Hart had to show him how to do it in the ring, because Shawn Michaels didn't even know how to do it. Again, also adding on to the lore behind this is that Bret Hart said, hey, I won't lose in Canada, but what I'll do is I'll show up on Monday Night Raw and I'll just drop the belt and be like, F you guys, I'm leaving. Like, because he was doing an anti-American pro-Canadian gimmick at the time. And And then so all hell breaks loose. Owen Hart, Jim the Anvil,
Bulldog, everyone, Undertaker,
everybody comes out to the ring, and Shawn Michaels is like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And then Bret Hart spit on Vince McMahon, and then looks at the camera and goes, "WCW," and then walks into the back. And Vince McMahon is trying to console him, be like, "Yo, like this was a huge mistake. Like, we'll fix it, all this." And then Bret Hart said, "I'm going to go take a shower. By the time I come back, you better be out of my dressing room." At the time, AEW had a film, or not AEW, A&E, the Arts and Entertainment, the channel, had a film crew with Bret Hart. They were filming a documentary about Bret Hart. They had him mic'd up the whole time. So Vince goes into the dressing room, or is still in the dressing room where Bret Hart gets out of the shower. Bret Hart's wrapped in a towel. He knocks out Vince McMahon, and you see it in this documentary. Vince McMahon opens the door. His shirt's all messed up. He's like drunk. He's like walking out of
the
this.
Briscoes are
The Briscoes are like holding him up. Like it was crazy, man. I've totally never thought of that as a shoot. That's crazy.
It's a shoot.
The Montreal screw job. I'm from Montreal. This is a Montrealian accent.
That is not an accent.
The Montrealan accent is French.
No, it's English Canada.
Haven't
It's not
you-
French Canadian. It's English Canadian. Get it right or pay the price.
Haven't you been to Montreal?
I've been banned from Montreal.
I've been banned from the entire country.
I have what is it, 22? I have 4 more years until I'm allowed back into Canada.
What are you gonna do when you get there?
Oh, I'm gonna go to Montreal and I'm gonna put somebody in the sharpshooter. No, the first thing I'm gonna do is go to a Toronto Maple Leafs game.
Badass.
Yeah, because hockey is my second favorite sport.
Didn't
Wrestling is my first.
You said you've been in a few scuffles.
Yeah, Nick, let's hear about these scuffs, dude.
So,
Scuffaroos.
We're at an hour now.
all right, so I'll make this quick. So
How long is the show?
We like to keep it around an hour.
Keep it around an hour.
Yeah.
So
not bad.
it's interesting.
I'm going to start the Scarlet Letter from the top.
Do it.
And I'm going to read the entire novel.
Tell me about Easy A.
Stop.
I like the movie.
Okay, so some real
Yeah,
real
I want to hear
scuffle
what
days.
Some
you
real
guys.
things. So like you kind of expect it, in wrestling. Like you always kind of know that something's gonna happen. Someone's gonna take it a little too far. I think one of the more scary ones I remember is that I won't name names, but one guy was working a guy a little too stiff. He thought that he was taking liberties on him, and
A Liberty's a bell.
It's cracked.
Yeah. In
So-
Philly.
Yeah.
Where the
And
beatdowns
they-
come
and
from.
During the
Where the
Revolutionary
beatdowns
War, they
come
rang it. And that's how it got the crack.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Paul
I'm
Revere.
sorry.
So the one guy that was getting hit was a veteran, and he didn't take too kindly to it. So he told the guy, vertical suplex. So when someone tells you you're going to take a move, you know kind of how to position your body, right? You know that, okay, he's going to pick me up. I need to point my feet up. I need to balance myself. And then when I start to fall, that's when I'm going to brace for the bump. Well, instead of a vertical suplex, he gave him a brain buster. So it's a completely different body motion. So vertical suplex, you're basically just picking the guy up and then you're both falling at the same time. A brain buster, you're picking the guy up and you're turning him a little bit to your left and you're dropping him on his
brain.
head,
Yeah,
right?
sure, yeah.
But you're not. The guy has to know when to turn and you fall on the back of your neck and shoulders. So the guy thought he was taking a suplex, and the guy shot on was just dropped him straight on his head, and he broke the back of his neck.
Fuck.
And yeah, we had to call it was crazy.
Is he
Dude, the
alive?
match,
He's alive.
Match stop.
Can he walk?
The match ended. Yeah, he's fine now, but we had to take a 40-minute break.
That's nuts, dude.
And the veteran was hot. He walked in the back. He's like, "Fuck that." He's like, "Fuck that guy." He was, he punched me the whole time. I told him "Hey man, back it off," and he would not back it off. So he's like, "Fuck it."
That's crazy, man.
So I've been in a couple. I've been on the receiving end and on the giving end.
Okay, so just to streamline this
couple.
real quick,
Yeah.
what is like the most intense that you gave, and then what's the most intense that you received?
The most intense I gave. So there's this guy, and me and him have heat to this day. I do not like this guy at all. I'm not gonna
Is it
say
because you fucked his wife?
no.
Okay.
He was just never good. He was just one of those guys who just wanted to be a part of professional wrestling and didn't want to learn.
I want to be famous.
I
wanted to
think
be
I
famous.
know
Nobody
who
wants
you're
to put in
talking
the
about.
work.
I don't think you do. I don't think I've ever told this story.
Okay, never mind then.
But he was awful. He was trash. He wanted to be a wrestler, and where I primarily wrestled, we wouldn't let him. They made him be a referee because he was awful.
Was this at Severn or in Severn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were in West Virginia together, where he was actually a wrestler in West Virginia, and West Virginia has no commission, has no nothing, right? It's nothing. It's whatever.
You just show like I could show
They
up
call it
and wrestle.
outlaw wrestling, right?
Okay.
Because anyone can put on a show. Anyone at the ring can put on a show.
I used to watch a couple of those. They were pretty interesting.
And he throughout the day, he was like, Nick. He's like, they want to put us in a match together. We're gonna have an angle, all this stuff. He's like, and I'm like, that's not happening. Like, I know it's not happening. You just really want to wrestle me, and like, you're just annoying the piss out of me. Mm-hmm. So we're in a battle royal together, right? Mm-hmm. And he won't leave me alone. He's like, they're gonna put us in an angle, brother. We gotta keep working each other. And I'm like, yo, get the like. I wanna like have fun and like go away. And then so eventually, like, one of my trainers sees what's going on, and I'm like, get rid of me. I need to get out of here. And the guy won't leave me alone. So so my trainer goes to give a double clothesline where we both flip over the ropes. This guy is so bad that he doesn't know how to flip over the ropes. And so to make this work, you both have to do it at the same time and not put a lot of weight on it, because if you put any weight on the rope's going to give. And then both of you aren't going over. So, of course, he fucks it up. And I flip over, and the rope snaps because he doesn't.
Jesus.
And it snaps you right in the fucking face as I'm going over.
Oh no! Like the rope broke,
No.
or it just like rebounded.
It rebounded.
Okay, got it.
Because
Okay,
he didn't
yeah.
go over. He doesn't know how to do anything, so he's stuck.
I smell a receipt coming.
Yeah. So I flip over, and then finally my trainer flips him over, and he's like, he doesn't even say anything. He just comes up and goes, I want you to throw me into the pole because we're starting. And I'm like, oh my God. So I punched him. I punched him as hard as I could in the face, and I took him. And when you throw someone, you let him run into it.
Yeah, you're kind of just have it's
I
like
got
stage.
I just have my hand on him.
So
right?
I know stage fighting, which is like some of this stuff because I was a theater nerd, and like when that like from what I understand is you just have your hand on the back of their head.
Yeah, I'm guiding him, right?
Yeah, mhm.
I didn't guide him.
You just
I threw him.
Chuckaroo.
I made sure that his head hit that fucking
old
pole.
chuckaroo.
Yeah. And,
Swindled him.
Yeah, and then
little Chucko clock, dude.
and then I gave him a good kick in the dick for for good measure.
You kicked him in the
I
dick?
kicked him in the dick. He got me back though.
In the dick?
No, as a referee.
Oh.
This is actually a funny story. I was supposed to win a match, and he fast counted on purpose for the other guy.
What a weird move
Right?
to do, yeah.
Right.
Like that's like some dude that got bullied all through high school and then becomes a cop. Like you know what I'm
just to
saying?
get
Actually, that's
just to give
yeah, I
tickets
was gonna
out
say
to
that's-
his old
And
bullies.
it's
But at the
solid.
same time, you kicked him in his dick.
So-
like
He's going to do something to
I mean,
So-
like we're still friends, but you kicked him in his dick.
I've already killed the business. So when as a referee, you're trained to always count to 3 no matter what.
As if it's a real fight.
Yeah. So his excuse was I didn't kick out, but he knew the finish. So when you know the finish, you kind of like you kind of hesitate, right? 1, 2, and you kind of wait for him to kick out.
Yeah.
He went 1, 2, 3, and then rang the bell.
And then ran out of the ring
and got
like,
out of there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it was just fucking weird. So when I got my ass kicked, it was a guy that I've always wanted to wrestle. So I was really nervous because I like this guy. I've always looked up to him.
Was it your uncle?
No.
Okay.
Was it my uncle?
Yes.
Jimmy, you're a hero.
Within the first two,
Come home, please.
within the first 2 minutes of the match, I fucked up like 3 spots.
Oh no. Were you like green at the time? Like were you?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And so he threw me into the turnbuckle, and he punched me so hard that like I saw stars. And I didn't, and like I was so like just out of it that I didn't know how to finish the match. So he got pissed off because he was like, "You're ruining everything," and I was like, I really have no idea what's going on. Like, you hit me so hard. And he just kept beating the fuck out of me.
Jesus Christ.
Like, he took his belt off and started whipping me.
He daddied you?
Yeah.
Daddy?
Because he was like, well, he was like, at this point, there's no point in going into spots, so I'm just going to put myself over. And he just whipped the fucking shit out of me.
Jesus
Christ.
So it happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I now that I think about it, I wonder if any of like the local shows that I've been to had any shoots in it or anything.
I mean,
like that.
some of the stuff you see on TV is somewhat of a shoot. I mean, like, not everything is going to go as planned.
Yeah. Like I was watching AEW from last night, and it was a Luchasaurus versus Bear Country, and the one dude from Bear Country had
What 2 great names.
He had Joe Perry's kid up on it. Not Joe Perry.
Joe
Jason.
Perry from Aerosmith?
Luke Perry's kid. He had Luke Perry's kid on his shoulders to do like a power bomb or something, and then Luchasaurus went to do a crossbody, and instead of catching him like he was supposed to, Luchasaurus just like did a crossbody and just like fell to the mat and looked fucking angry. Like,
You know, and like sometimes shit just happens. Like I was, because I'll say this one because I'm proud of him. So Wes Lee, NXT's Wes Lee, me and him trained together. We had a bunch of matches early on in our career together, and one of our first matches together, he had this really cool spot idea. He still does this spot today, so when I see it, I'll fucking love it because he came up with it with me and him, where like we do like the big boss man across like the rope where the guy has his neck on the rope and you put your leg through it. So you do 1, 2, and on the third one, you jump like through him. You like do like a dive out and you turn around and smack him. So he does that now, but he was the one that he wanted me to do it. So I gave him the legs, and then I dove through the ropes, turned around, and went to smack him. And I did not pull my punch, and I punched him as hard as I could.
and this is a freak accident.
Freak accident.
Gotcha.
Like if you watch the video's on YouTube. If you watch the video, the smacky sound isn't me slapping my leg. The smack you hear is me punching him in the chin.
Jeez.
Yeah. I felt so bad.
That's crazy. Well, I guess we're gonna end it on a dark note like that.
The dark side of the pod.
Yeah.
Dark side of the bus.
Yeah. Good one. Thank you. Rick, do you have any plugs,
Any
chugs?
plugs?
Thanks for joining us.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
thanks
I'm
for
happy to be
and also
here.
thanks for watching us, guys. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the camera was there the whole time. So
I
any
didn't.
plugs, chugs?
Oh, I forgot about the camera. Do we have a YouTube thing?
We're going to have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Hi.
We're on it.
Yeah.
I'm just here killing a 6-pack. You know,
Yeah,
no
it's fine.
problem.
Walking into the kitchen like we normally do.
My mom called. I was like,
Okay,
Mom,
it's
I'm on my
fine.
podcast.
So Rick, do you have any plugs like
No.
your band? Your band?
I you know what? I play music in a band called Birthright. Got some new stuff coming soon.
If anyone has kids who want to wrestle and they want you to coach them,
If you're in the northern Anne Arundel County area and you've got a kid between the ages of 4 and 14 and you want them to learn the great sport of folk style wrestling, come on down to Andover Apaches Wrestling. Where I'm the commissioner there. And then if you go to North County High School, come on down and roll around a little bit. I don't know what to say, man.
Come roll around.
Come wrestle, man. Greatest sport in the world. And
I mean, we call it. We did. Are you gonna go roll around the ring? Well, yeah, we're gonna roll around a little bit.
yeah,
I can't wait until like I can step into until
We're working on it. We're gonna get into
until
a ring.
until the Knights go back to wrestling and I can go and
Oh,
turn
it's-
on my old high school.
No, I mean,
Because isn't like Old Mill and North County have like a feud?
Honestly, I'm really, really proud of the. And on a real serious note, I'm so proud of my kids this year for dealing and putting up with everything that go through. We are the only sport that was this year that was like not only sport, the only season because they do 3 seasons a winter, and we're the only one that really didn't get to touch anything. We didn't get to have practices. We didn't get to meet. I have wrestlers that are on my team that I've saw several times a week via Zoom that I've never met in person now. I had them for a whole season already, and all we're doing is breaking down videos.
Are you guys not having meets yet?
Well, because of COVID, unfortunately, our season was literally all online. They're like, you have an online wrestling season, which is really difficult to do.
That is weird
But
as
like
shit.
football and baseball and suffers back. Right?
Football and baseball get to have because they didn't get their season because their season was cut off, and then baseball was after us.
Yeah.
They get to actually have some spring season, but because our season was online, we're considered that we actually already had our season.
And like so you have
we
like,
can't so every day I would post just kind of encouraging things or
like a workout or something
something
like
like that, yeah. And then like video every day was like a video that broke down a new move, or if it was, I mean, by the end of it I'm like, hey, like check out this Spencer Lee match from a couple nights ago. This guy kicks ass. I didn't say that to them, but I'm like, this guy rules. Watch him wrestle, and it's really good. And try to be like him. No, I mean, but we're doing, going over everything we can. And the cool thing is we do have some new guys, and the new guys are the ones that were really, really into it and really interested in learning. And I'm excited for actually getting the opportunity to really work with.
Well, that's
them.
gotta suck for like your juniors and seniors who like may want to go to
does,
college. And
dude.
do
Well,
it, right?
it does. Well, very fortunately, we only have a couple seniors this year. We have a really young team this year. We graduated a lot of them last year, so our team is pretty young this year. We had a couple that where I'm like, I really wish I could have seen them in states because there's one in particular I'm not going to name names, whatever. But
you don't have favorites.
I don't have favorites. No, absolutely not. I don't actually. In sincerity, I don't have favorites. But there's one kid I'm thinking of. I'm like, man, like what? I bet you he would have took him top 5 in states if he would have gotten this season because he was so close last year. And it was like, and then I got a couple more guys that would have gone, and then I got a couple guys next year that we're still talking about if wrestling is going to be a thing next year.
I was
we
gonna
don't
say,
know.
do you have a timeline at all?
Don't, not at all.
And then that's
I mean, I guess it is like one of the more like physical contact.
I mean,
kind
it's
of- like, you're sweating,
you're literally on
spitting,
top of each
yeah.
other. Yeah. So I mean, you're right there. So no, I mean, wrestling's like when it was funny. I was talking to the AD and he's like, "We're gonna see what's up for wrestling when like this season." I'm like, "What do you mean we're gonna see what's up?" Like, dude, you just canceled football and you wear masks in football. Like, you wear whole face guards and protectors and shit. Like, no,
Yeah,
what?
we're not having
We're
a
talking
season.
about wearing like singlet and like go. You know what I mean? Like, no, man, it's not gonna happen. And next year I'm hoping that things, it really it sounds silly and I don't want to like plug it like in this way, but your fucking vaccine. Go get your fucking vaccine.
you just got yours today, right?
Got mine
Like,
today.
I got mine, and then I got my
People
second one
are
on
like, I really
420.
want. To me, it's like, so I work in a hospital. That's what I do for a day job, and I'm a locksmith there. And like, to me, like the people that are still out here, like, you know what? I just don't know. Fuck, what the? Are you serious? You want the world to go back to normal? Go get your fucking vaccine, and that's how that works.
Yep.
Period.
And then, if I may, real quick, as always, text or call us. Leave us a voicemail at 410-929-4469. Again, that is 410-929-4469.
I always forget it.
And I don't know if it's a legit thing or not, but we will be at Baltimore Celeb Fest May 15th.
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
In some capacity.
At some capacity, we might be like hanging around, handing out stickers, T-shirts, stuff like that. So
We'll try to get a table going or something.
yeah, but
I'll
I'll
make some phone calls.
yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Do you guys have any plugs, Chugs?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, as always,
This
I
is
would just
awesome.
like to thanks for listening to Young and the Restless, and as always, bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen,